Okay, so welcome to At Heart Ministries' first honest review of a movie, and we're going to be talking about The Matrix.
Not that we haven't made honest reviews.
Well,
Not
obviously they're...
Well, our first honest versus our first review.
Okay, we're going to edit everything out because she's interrupting me rude.
Don't interrupt. She's not trying to be rude. Okay. It's an honest review from not only a Christian parent's perspective, but also various ages and their Christian perspective on whatever movie.
Yeah. Oh, that's it.
Yes, Peanut Gallery.
This is our first time videoing our review.
Yeah.
We already
Oh my goodness. Moving on.
Okay, so we're talking about The Matrix. Okay, which is rated R. So it says rated R for sci-fi violence and brief language. That's not what I would have necessarily given it an R rating for. But, so technically, none of these three should have seen it yet because of that R rating. But it's
close.
technically, there's a lot of, I need the Lego air quotes. We just need Lego hands. That just looks like you're eating a marshmallow or something.
You have to have
Or a
actual Lego
cheeseburger.
medicine.
Anyway, so you want to give the synopsis?
Yes. So this movie came out in 1999, and it starts with some people that are stuck in something called the Matrix. They don't know what it is or how to define it. They just know that nothing is right in their world. And throughout the course of the movie, they find out that they are actually stuck inside of a computer game, basically, where the robots eat people to power themselves. That's kind of awesome. It's kind of rip off of Soylent Green, but it's the way it works. And so throughout the course of that, they find this guy who becomes the one, who's named Neo, and his purpose is to fix the equation and get people out. And he does a pretty good job of that by the end of the movie. But it goes through lots of things that are good, bad, and otherwise through there. Moving on.
Okay, so some of the issues with this movie, when we were discussing letting our kids watch it, were, of course, there's violence, but I feel like every child's different, every family is different, and different ages, maturity, all of that. Our children are mature in some ways and maybe less mature in others. But for the violence that we already knew was in this movie, as parents, I definitely recommend, if you're not sure about a movie, check different reviews, see what other people say, watch it yourself before you decide about letting your kids watch it. Because you're going to be the best person to really interpret and understand where your child's at and how they're going to understand and perceive things, and do so honestly. Don't say, hey, when I was a kid watching it terrified me, but I can watch it now and it doesn't scare me, so I'll take my 10-year-old to go see it in the theaters. Probably not a good idea. Just because it doesn't scare you now, be honest and consider where your child's at, where...
Except probably with the Matrix.
Yes. Okay, but it's the same concept. So,
Sure it is.
we watched this when it came out because, we're that age.
Well, I watched it when it came out, and I was 17 when I watched it.
Yeah.
So everything in the movie is something I'd already seen in some shape or form already on cable TV, regular TV.
Yeah.
Walking through Walmart, etc. The language, yes, could be considered a problem. Now, But most parents that think their kids are sheltered don't realize that they get worse language walking through the store.
Frequently.
Any
Yeah.
store. Even Christian bookstores, you hear the same language. Is it how it's supposed to be? No. But that is the reality of what the world is today. So don't think that you're protecting your child because they've never watched a movie with a cuss word in it, because they've already heard all of them, probably more than you have.
Especially if they go to public school,
Or Walmart.
or Walmart,
Or
really.
Lowe's.
Or they go to the state fair, or, you know.
Pretty much any place
If
where there are other people.
There are other
Exactly.
people, they're being exposed to stuff that you may or may not agree with. And most likely, you already have put things in place to deal with, like, helping them understand, okay, you've heard someone say that, but we don't use that word because,
Why are you
you
raising
know,
your hand?
reasons.
Like, a friend of ours offered to teach me a bunch of words in Russian that I'm not going to learn very specific.
Oh, yeah.
words.
Okay, we're not talking about Russian. We're talking about
Okay.
Matrix.
Okay. Yeah.
So,
Okay, Bella, first issue that you saw in the movie.
okay,
Tack
you
it
think
on
about
the
that and
stove.
I'll explain two things. So, one of the other concerns I had was particularly the scene where Neo meets Trinity for the first time. They meet in a club of sorts. And it's a brief scene, I guess, but there's a lot of costumes and behaviors and things in that scene that,
It's like watching a music video on MTV
I mean, yeah, it basically is at this point, but I mean,
at this point.
it probably was then too, and I just was oblivious to it. Hold on, Nora. But that's something that I was concerned about because we have 3 teenage girls, and I don't want them to feel like they need to look a certain way, dress a certain way, behave a certain way to, you know,
Fit in.
or, yeah. I'm sure you get what I mean. So, your
It's fine.
option or issue that you
The
had,
first
or
thing. The first thing
perspective.
I saw wrong with the movie.
mm-hmm.
Probably when Neo first is shown, and he's
You're talking to the camera.
It's
Yeah,
okay.
yeah,
You
yeah.
can talk
He's-
to me. I don't care.
isn't he's copying things and selling them to other people to make a lot of money,
Piracy is a crime.
and that's definitely not something we should do.
And what things is he copying then?
Video games, movies.
No, he's not
No,
copying
he's not.
movies, he's copying drugs.
Yeah.
They're digital drugs for people.
Which is really
I
odd.
didn't know what he was copying.
Yes, that's what he's copying.
I didn't know what he was copying. I just
So
knew he was
he's-
copying
Yes, they're
something
for
bad.
VR programs in order to provide drugs.
Oh,
Yes.
I
That's
didn't
why
know
he
that.
says to use mescaline.
Okay, so drug references are another
Vague.
potential
He's a
issue.
drug
Very
It,
vague.
it's not vague. It's very direct, but it's very
It's
small
not like pot shops
portion
in Oregon.
of
Exactly.
exactly. So we live in Oregon. They're
Everywhere.
everywhere. Even again at Walmart, you walk through clouds.
Your
It's
turn.
awful.
Now I'm.
Just talk. You talk all the time.
Well, I thought the movie was really interesting and the fighting was really cool. The acting was great, but it didn't. It normalized, I think, and acted as if it was okay to do drugs and wear skimpy clothing and basically not follow what God is telling us to do in that specific circumstance for those specific things. But it also clearly referenced things from the Bible. But so does everything else, pretty much. Cat, what are you doing?
Without
I think
noticing
it's light.
It's yeah. I don't care if he attacks the camera. It's fine.
I think the
Okay,
biggest
that's
issue is just saying it's okay to do bad things because that's normal in the society, and
That
Yeah.
do you mean like even the good guys do
yeah, even
bad
the good
things?
guys are doing the dealing drugs and stuff like that.
He's not the good guy yet.
Exactly. He's
He
not a good guy yet.
becomes
He's
the
part of
Still.
the system at that point.
Yes.
So he would be like the old man that has not become a Christian yet.
Yeah, which is the reference.
So the big thing to remember about the Matrix is don't use it as your basis for theology. And that's a very poor choice. That being said, there are good things in the Matrix spiritually. It's just don't use it as your Bible.
It's
That's
not
a bad
the Bible.
choice.
Very bad.
Lenny.
The issue you saw.
One of the issues is they are using guns, but nowadays people say guns are terrible, never use them. But they are okay if you are using them to defend yourself or to get food for your family. If you're just using them because you can, then they are bad.
Not
Hurt other
necessarily.
people.
If you're like going to the
It's fun to
going
shoot
shooting a plastic target is not
Sad.
bad.
Padme, come on.
That is okay.
But using them to hurt other people is not.
That being said, the lobby shooting spree is by far the best scene in the entire movie.
Without a doubt.
Agreed.
Bullet
And
time is
yeah, it has a bad word at the beginning, but once again, that's normal for society now for language. But following that is an amazing shooting spree on everything. It blows up everything in existence and they run on walls and everything awesome in movies. Which is why you want to watch this movie, really, because it's awesome. But
There's a lot of explosions.
yeah, there's explosions. But if you're trying to watch it for spiritual content, don't do it.
Well,
That's a bad choice.
yeah. That's something we base a lot of our understanding of movies and opinions of movies and things on is the movie claiming to be a Christian movie? And at that point, if it is, then you can judge it under those
Standards.
criteria. If it's a secular movie, yes, you need to still say whether or not this is appropriate for our family to watch, whether or not it's something I want to be watching. There are several movies that I want to like because I like the premise, but
Twilight.
there's so much garbage in it that I don't watch it as an
all
adult.
Of Twilight.
Titanic.
He doesn't like
somewhere in time.
chick flicks. Hey,
That was
the
really
Penny
off.
movie,
Hallmark.
it was so slow. If you've not
Sleepless in
seen,
Seattle.
Oh my
You've
goodness.
got mail.
okay, sip it
The
down.
list goes on.
Runaway Bride.
Okay, yeah.
Every Sandra Bullock movie.
I like Sandra Bullock. I think she's my favorite actress. But anyway, the point is,
Discontinuity movies are fun.
you can't expect the world to behave like Christians because they're not. I mean, there are some people who are not Christians who are probably more moral than some Christians, but you can't put Christian morality onto the world and expect them to understand and feel the desire to behave that way. Now, is that fair? A fair explanation? So that being said, watching this movie, like Nathan said, it's not a Christian movie. There are spiritual themes and things kind of pulled from the Bible here and there, and
Don't expect it to be uplifting. It's a good story. It has a good ending.
Yeah.
But it's not going to give you the same boost as watching a Christian movie will. But if you want something with explosions and guns, go for The Matrix.
It's pretty good. So, all right.
So overall, The Matrix is an amazing movie. It deserved the ratings it got, and it's still a good movie 25 years later almost. But it does have things that little kids are not going to be able to handle. Things that certain teenagers are not yet mature enough to be able to handle, which this one's right at the edge of that, being 13.
Yeah.
And there's things in this next movie that they're definitely not able to handle, so we'll come to that in a different review. But
Yeah.
if you're going to watch a movie like this with your kids, you just need to know your kids.
I
And
think it's
really
all
give them something that is fair for them and not put them in a situation that they can't understand it.
Yeah.
They skipped the part they're talking about for the three of us.
You'll get to that in the next review.
In the next
Also,
review.
in the first one, you skipped most of the club scene.
No, she didn't.
No,
you
I
skipped
just
part
had
of
you
it
cover your eyes.
Until,
I didn't cover
Okay,
my
thank you
eyes.
for watching.
Thanks for
Thanks for
watching.